Honourable Speaker, I rise to give my contribution to the budget 2022 and 2023 and the appropriation bill which is before the House. First, I would like to acknowledge the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Cabinet Ministers, Honourable Leader of the Opposition and Honourable Members of Parliament for their contributions on the bill so far. And also those at the Ministry of Economy for compiling the budget estimates and the budget, and also the people who had participated in the budget consultations around the country in our area. The background of this budget is very, very important, Honourable Speaker, to understand that all economies in the world are on a recovery path post-COVID and now have to deal with the global hike of price of food and fuel due to global supply disruptions and impact of the Russian and Ukraine war. The world over is affected by the global inflation and has affected the economic growth at recovery stage to move beyond the pandemic. No doubt, the Fijian economy had contracted in the last 2 years. But our national response, Honourable Speaker, the last 2 budgets has seen policies directed to assist our economic recovery path post-COVID. I had supported the last 2 budgets because I saw it is a patriotic stand to unite as leaders in a crisis and to see how to recover from it. Our economic recovery path, as we are on that now, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge my fellow opposition MP, Honourable Mere Naulumatua, for contributions this morning on the positive outlook of some benefits of the budget from her perspective as a businesswoman, and also my fellow colleague, Honourable Asiran for much balanced contribution in terms of infrastructure development and its deliberation this morning. And you might recall, Honourable Speaker, I was the only opposition member voicing the support for the Fiji Airways guarantee motion in last March and was subject to public criticism as to why keep our national carrier when our borders were closed. My reasons then were very simple, that we needed to keep our planes to help us in our economic recovery process. Now the tourism sector has recorded 205,000+ tourist arrivals since the borders have opened. I think that was a bold decision that we had made. The tourism industry has played a vital role in the projected economic recovery that for 2022, which will be almost 12.4%. We have made a great rebound as a nation. To support the recovery and enhance prospects for diversification, continued emphasis on macro structural reforms was needed. As you will recall, I had participated in the Parliament Standing Committee public consultation to pass the amendments to the Investment Act 2022 to enable more investment confidence environment, with Investment Fiji tasked in promoting Fiji's competitive and comparative advantages. This was part of the IMF 2021 Article 4 Mission to Fiji recommendation, which was taken on board. The Investment Act amendment was aimed to support the recovery and enhance prospect for diversification, especially the national budget focus on agro-tourism, medical tourism, and also now the introduction of the industry through the amendments of the Act to allow the much value-adding purposes for textile industry in regards to hemp, where seeds will be coming from Canada. We thank the recent ANZ CEO announcement to assist the vertical partnership to assist local businesses ventures into the lucrative market. This will also greatly assist landowners who will offer their land to be leased and also be part of the farming cluster as part of the suppliers of raw materials to the manufacturers. Support measures. What one needs to see in the budget is the availability of strong policies response to support measures post-pandemic to enable economic activities to accelerate. And in that regard, I would like to acknowledge the lifting of the beach Dima ban or Sasalu for the province of Maduata and Bua and Dhakonrobe, which has directly affected many in the past few weeks, especially in the buying of their household items and also the economy in the northern division. And also those investors in the north who have provided the market, like Mr. Richard Du, for our local people in Vunualevu who are selling sasalu. Also, the other measures that are in place in any budget to show our response to post-COVID, which included social welfare support, water and electricity subsidies, which is very important. Also, a very important one too, in the budget last year, it allowed the removal of consent that was through TLTB and the fees that allowed many who are not on legal titles to access electricity. And this is very important for the alleviation of poverty in our country. And also those who are in excess of GPs and medical practitioners. No fees for market vendor stall. This is something that has really assisted. No fees for insufficient fees, PSV driver's license, and a 10% reduction in the bus fare, which has really helped and will help assist the removal of poverty at grassroots level. Education assistance and also the inflation mitigation measures of that 60 million to help mitigate the effects of rising inflationary pressure on household disposable incomes. Parents with combined annual income of less than 50,000 will receive a payment of $180 per child over the next 6 months. In addition, there is the removal of the VAT on 21 household items, the removal of police clearance fees, which is very important to assist, which has assisted people, especially in finding employment. Those who are going through the Pacific Labour Scheme overseas are assisted through in that too. And in return, through our Vuvale partnership, they've remitted money back to their families in Fiji and also assisted in the collection of revenue for our country. I think this has empowered many too in the rural communities who are going in groups through this labor scheme, which are assisting back their community projects in their various villages and also improving livelihood in our villages. The open ranking taxi system, that is something that has really helped those in the rural community, out-based drivers especially, more income to take home to their families, and also the 300% tax reduction on hotels for hiring singers and maker groups will benefit our villages and also other groups in the communities who are into this. So these are many opportunities available through the budget that will assist our people in bringing more money into their household income and also more food on the table. The current financial status, what we have, overall Fiji's macroeconomic fundamentals are strong. Our financial sector is strong as our foreign reserve is currently sitting at a 3.6 billion as of July this year. This has assisted in the stability of our liquidity levels in our banks maintaining a low interest rate environment. This has assisted many businesses and individuals in their loan repayment plus new lending. I think this is very important, where government has loaned to keep liquidity levels low for a low interest rate, which has allowed many Fijians through their business and also other individuals. If you just go into the bank, you'll see the loan section, a big line there for those who are going for soft loans and other loans, given the rates that are maintained, given our liquidity levels have been maintained. Land development, and moving to land development, how the budget targets land development. The budget will also cater for landowners in supporting development in terms of home and land buying and opening up investment opportunities. For example, it's great to see the $9 million allocation for the first home buyers grant program and the 500,000 for the first land grant program. Not only does it assist people who own properties for the first time, more importantly, it develops Itauke landowners in offering their land to be subdivided. They will earn more money leases for which they venture into other investment and projects. For example, landowners partnership with the Housing Authority in Fiji, just a new subdivision probably last month, in Tuatua Lambasa, where Matangai and Vurivura of Nasekula has benefited, and I thank the Honorable Attorney General for that land breaking ceremony. and also development that has created more employment for contractors who are involved in that development, and more investment for landowners. These are some areas in the budget on how it affects and empowers indigenous landowners. Land development projects under the Itoke Land Development Grant, which has allowed the landowners in the Western Division to become developers. I think this has been an area which had been lying there for a while, but it has picked up now, where landowners have moved away from only becoming passive land providers and receiving lease, but also to become developers, owning development lease. This empowers Itoke landowners, improving their economic status and accelerating them into the business sector. This is something that is very important. In addition, TLTB awareness program for landowners to draw plans to develop their land. This is something that the TLTB is currently doing now. They are moving around to all land owning units for them to draw up plans to develop their land, etc., and to identify potentials in their lands on what they can do on housing developments, quarry and rock extraction, resource development, and other investments. These are some of the programs that will empower and create more information to our landowners to make economic decisions. Sibul, we talk about the Committee of Better Utilization of Land. Committee of Better Utilization of Land. Committee of Better Utilization of Land, allocation of 6.9 million. It really benefits the landowners in terms of lease monies to cater for their traditional obligations like funerals, wedding, church levies, and buying household items and investment. This initiative from the Sibul, which many land owning units look forward to whenever payment is coming up. Probably soon, one will be coming soon, and many landowners are expecting that, has improved the living standards of many Taukes, especially in villages, in the makeup of their homes and also on their everyday living. Land use, utilization of land for economic benefits in other positive aspects of the budget that I will touch, which needs to be given due recognition. The benefits will bring our people should, one of the key measures relied on scrutinizing the budget, and I'm grateful that we given the opportunity for the other benefits through land use, especially for rural farmers, for the 7 million for machinery outsourcing, 1.5 million for farm mechanization, 600,000 for ginger farming, 400,000 for Yangona farming, 200,000 for Ndalo farming, and 300,000 for rice farming. And I would like also to inform the House that villages in Maduata, in Vunivutu villages, have formed clusters and moving into rice farming clusters and participating under this grant. These are some of the areas on how indigenous people and land owning units benefit through government programs and allocations wanting to move forward, and they are assisted through the assistance that are in the policy lines and allocations in the budget. Livestock projects in terms of poultry extension, beef extension, piggery extension, goat and beef extensions. Farmers have benefited a lot in the rural areas in terms of seedlings, Ndalo, Yangona suckers, and livestock breeds. These are some of the things that the policies are targeting those in the rural areas and villages, especially Matangali, who have lands to move into livestock projects, owning poultry and also piggeries, which also helps in their various traditional obligations, and also businesses in rural, empowering small businesses in the communities. For climate change, furthermore, climate change is also catered for, and in this particular budget, which is more a key issue, which poses a risk to Fiji's survival, both economic and existential. This Parliament should be proud in the passing of the Climate Change Bill, a much-needed piece of legislation which provides all that necessary to help Fiji to play its goal in reducing national emissions towards a net zero by 2050. At the same time, it allows initiatives to put in place which accelerate and access our Point of order. Point of order, sir. It is being irrelevant. We are here as an opposition. We have the chance to criticize our budget. That was the opposition stand. We are here to criticize the budget. Otherwise, just tell him to cross over. Thank you.
Okay.
This is the debate budget. And he's doing exactly that. So, just like you. You have the floor.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And I think as national leaders, I think we are here to express our views on the budget. And this is one of our roles as members of Parliament. We give our views overall on what the budget estimate looks like and how it affects those that will be governed by it. And that's our role. At the same, I was on climate change, on how climate change will help and assist landowners. There's a lot of economic benefits for landowners in terms of the climate change programs that are there, and especially in the landowner participation in carbon trading projects. And I think this is something that landowners are moving into in forest conservation and the registration of their carbon sinks, and also how will they benefit from the carbon trading projects. Building resilient infrastructures in rural communities such as seawalls and also roads, planting of natural trees and fruits, fruit tree projects in that Ministry of Agriculture project, which really helps the target for our various matangalis in our various catchments to move towards that. We are moving away from that Ridge to Reef project in our aim for that 50 million trees. And I think these are directly benefiting our communities. And also communities in participating in planting of trees and fruit trees are also getting some allowances that helps in their various community projects. Protecting our marine areas, lumi projects, pearl, coral planting, and mangrove planting. These are some of the benefits of climate change. Infrastructure development, we can see the 600 million for essential maintenance of our roads, assets, 50 million on ongoing program, renewal and rehabilitation of roads and remake program, and special thanks from Vanuatu contractors that have now signed directly with FRA contracts. Before they used to be subcontractors to Fair Deal, but now they have directly signed contracts with FRA, especially for the RIP program. And we thank the FRA for allowing that for tender. And 15 million for rural road programs. We need to maintain our roads and also new ones in our rural communities. And a special thank and also the announcement of the Langi to Tawake Road, closer to where we are in Dongotuki, and from Tawake to Wainika. This is an area which has been connected only by the sea. But these are some of the things that are benefiting our rural community, and also the Narambale crossover to Valeboni, as alluded to by the Honourable Minister. But participation of our public infrastructure projects will enable contractors like Higgins, Flame Trees, Gold Rock, Fair Deal, Basic Industries like Fijian Holdings Limited, other Kashmir Civil Construction, Bula Civil Construction, Valembasonga, NGCL, and others do much needed business to keep our economy rolling through much needed revenue projections for the government. These companies provide employment for many Fijians who are truck drivers, machine operators, laborers, dynamite rock explosive specialists who support their family and communities. On the other hand, the FRA contractors assist landowners who consent to lease out of query through metal royalties. Landowning units are earning through arrangements as high as $13 per cubic. The contractor pays $3.31 to TB as royalties, but on the other hand, pays a separate $10 per cubic by the Matangali for their development and investment. These are some of the how those developments trickle down to how landowners benefit from the policies. Landowners have built better cyclone-resistant homes, built farm roads, moved into commercial farming, bought vehicles and trucks for high businesses, bought houses in urban areas to be on rent income, and have invested for their future generations education fund at Unit Trust of Fiji and also Fijian Holding Unit Trust. So far, during the debate, and plus the other campaign materials that are going around, which are trying to portray current policies and initiatives as not benefiting the Tauke, and trying to politicize indigenous economic imbalances and disadvantage. I have just outlined how common policies has empowered indigenous people of this country. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, as a patriotic Fijian and a national leader, we must ensure stability of our nation and the full, fit recovery of our economy. Our economy is regrowing under our recovery path. Our national agenda is to guard our fragile economic recovery process. We need to guard our economy, the economy recovery from global disruption of supply and inflation, the trickle-down effect of the war in Ukraine on the increase of international food prices and fuel, and also the effects of climate change, given our vulnerability to cyclones and floodings. The 2022-2023 budget is prepared as the economy is regaining strength post-COVID through the tourism numbers that are coming in from January to June this year, 2022, which is almost the same as the period of 2019. We are now at the peak period, July to August of the tourist arrival. The budget has no major tax changes, and this is important in providing policy consistency to the private sector and the tourism industry. It is critical to maintain policy consistency given more spaces for more economic activities. This builds private sector confidence and it assists in our post-economic recovery. The budget has a very simple and logical strategy by providing tax concessions to business to operate, and in return, government earns through revenue from personal and income tax. The expenditure strategy is very clear with key principles to guide expenditure policy. In the medium term, for example, the budget is encouraging more in the private sector, in public infrastructure projects and delivery of our other services in the public and private partnership and other innovative arrangements. For example, the Aspen Medical Private-Public Partnership by choosing hospital services as we move into medical tourism industry with the recent FNPF buying of shares of Fiji Airways to capture the travel component of tourism that is at its fleet of its hotels that are part of the FNPF members' investment. I think that is very important, and that will be more returns to our individual FNPF accounts. In view of those factors, we have a very critical role as national leaders in this august house. That it is which we have to always put our country first. The survival of our economy is priority. Therefore, the 2022-2023 budget maintains a strong consistency of policies to maintain our stability towards a full economic recovery. Therefore, wholeheartedly, with great patriotism, support the motion that is before the House for Fiji and the well-being of all Fijians in our valley.